Deep down, I do wish we had one. Like, just one.
One what?
One real one. I mean, there's got to be more out there than this in the universe.
There are some things much beyond our comprehension. Ancient designs. You know there's a darkness deep in these waters. Once it wakes, a new world order will begin. Everything will burn in this world and be made new.
Pop! Pop, pop, pop! What's with that crowd gunfire? Americana! You saying my boy's gonna shoot at us? Is that what you're saying?
Would you say that you're a woman of strong faith?
I am.
So how do you factor in the existence of aliens and still believe in God?
Well, I've needed my faith more than ever in these last 12 days.
Can you tell me why that is?
Because this is the worst kind of evil imaginable. Pure evil.
They're gonna kill us.
Well, we are not dead yet.
Boom, there you go. That was a trailer for How Dark They Pray, arriving on September 15th to Amazon Prime Video and Watch Movies Now. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. And as you see on the screen, I have some special guests. I have Jamison LoCascio and Adam Ambrosio. How are you, gentlemen?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Definitely. Thank you for your time. I love filmmakers like myself. You know, I kind of told you right before we started, as indie guys, it's hard to get our projects out there. You know, we put all this love and labor, but to get it to the world, for them to see it, it takes a lot. So congrats to you both, especially coming out on Prime Video and Watch Movies Now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very proud of it so far, and definitely proud of the work that everybody has done on it. So we're looking forward to them seeing, you know, all the parts they didn't see.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So let's talk about how it all started. Both you gentlemen, how maybe you two kind of came together as a team and then forming this project, all the pre-pro.
Yeah, so Adam and I have been working together for
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years now. And the collaboration definitely started as you know, which is different and interesting about us, as composer director. I guess it really sort of was for a long time. And then Adam had a lot of great ideas to, you know, that he wanted to sort of make into films and things like that. So we got into writing and developing concepts together, and then he really became the producer of the projects, which is kind of really how Film Valor started, which was really initially a YouTube channel where we just would do different content and stay creative constantly. And we wound up making a production company, you know, called Film Valor, and then producing under that banner. Yeah. And we've done now 3 features as Film Valor, along with, you know, tons of other work.
Yeah, we've got a few shorts, commercials and whatnot. And yeah, as Jameson said, it started out as he was directing and writing, and I was just really into music. I was more into metal and, you know, rock and roll. And I didn't really want to do anything with film, even though I was pretty much brought up on it, because my dad used to be an agent and a manager, and I've always been, you know, with the casting directors, the writing process on sets and all, and I just love movies. And then one day, you know, Jameson said, you know, have you ever thought of like really composing for films? And I was like, nah, dude, I'm the metal dude playing who wants to get into the underground dungeon in our local town and wants to make something for himself there. So that didn't happen. And then when Jameson brought me on to do composing, it almost like lit a spark, because I grew up on, so a lot of horror films. Horror films are my life. And so like John Carpenter was a big one. And then knowing that, oh, he's John Carpenter directed and he wrote and he did the music that I love in his films, it kind of gave me that mental note to say, oh, it's okay to do that. You could still, play the music that you want and, be part of the film world. And it's okay because, if it's done right, it's great. And a lot of people latched onto that, with horror. I think the scores always, really make it, really make the horror film. So I started that with Jamison, and then as time went on, he was very, he was very nice, and to allow me into that process of the production and the writing, and we really bounced some good ideas off each other, and then that's how it kind of just like spawned. Was that we just, kept on, throwing ideas at each other, and then just really writing down anything that we wanted. It didn't have to be like, even if the idea was a budget that we were not going to be able to achieve, we would write it down because we had a very good structure of using what we have to make it work. And we certainly did that with How Dark They Pray. A lot of these stories, were a lot bigger and fleshed out, especially the war one. But we sat down and creatively said, how can we make this work for us? And and do it on the budget and the crew that we have.
Yeah.
And over the years, we kind of honed in our skills or sharpened our teeth with that. So
yeah, I mean, we can go on forever about really our process, and probably get away from your questions because there's so much about what we don't do as filmmakers that I think sort of define us as well. We don't like having big crews, and we sort of just like to go and shoot. So we kind of have developed that as our strategy. It's like the way we would approach a Film Valor video. We try not to make it any more, I think it's fear from the filmmaker's part, any more pressure than just making a Film Valor video. And that's really worked well for us. So,
dude, I absolutely love y'all's energy and mentality, that vibe, that spirit of just creating, about just coming up with these stories and putting it on wax, getting it together, and then making that material. I love that, dude. That's awesome. As a kind of a guy who's been in the game for a long time, and kind of in reverse of what you guys did. You guys started YouTube. I've been filmmaking and now doing YouTube. So I just love that mentality, man, to just keep on creating and having that vibe and that energy. That's just so beautiful and dope to me. So props to you guys, man. I love that. You don't see that enough. So I love that.
But as you said earlier, it is tough for filmmakers, and it's very easy for them to to go with the herd to get to where they need to go. And have we tried that avenue earlier on in our careers? Probably. Really not to where we thought we were going, but we realized that maybe it's good to get out of that herd. Just step out and evaluate where you're at,
exactly,
and decide where you gotta go. And that's really what we did with Film Valor with the YouTube channel. We wanted to create content for young, up and coming, filmmakers who feel like, oh, I don't have this budget, I don't have this crew, I don't have this gear, but I want to create something. And we kind of said, all right, well, let's just do it. Instead of telling them how to do it, let's show them and physically do it.
Yeah, that was really big for us because we were so much, I came from, hopefully not a film school mentality, but I came from film school, and a lot of it was like, oh, you got to do this, this, and this. And I think when I started working with Adam, it's like, well, we don't need to do that. Why don't we go back to, and I started thinking, well, why don't we just go back to as well? Like, okay, the way I was thinking when I was 17 is you don't have these things, so how are you going to do it? But also we have professional skill sets. So that's, I mean, and when you're on a content schedule, like we were with Film Valor for a real long time, I think it was like about a year, we had a really set content schedule, but it actually achieved exactly what we wanted, which was putting us in a new direction. You're sort of forced to get it done and figure it out. And like, we were making, I think it was like one short a month or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was like really consistent, plus episodes weekly. So that really forced us out of what I think could have been a very bad, not a bad, but a very, a rut of some sort, you know, where maybe we weren't moving forward the way we want, and we might have been stuck waiting rather than just doing it. And so that was, yeah, that's we just never left that mentality, and it's worked out really well.
Amazing. Well done, guys. I love these gems you're dropping on these people that are watching this that are also my filmmaking peeps. So brilliant. I love it. So again, everybody, How Dark They Pray dropping on September 15th on Amazon Prime Video and Watch Movies Now. In regards to How Dark They Pray, it's 4 tales, 4 horror shorts, if you will. Did they start off as short films? Tell me how the evolution of this particular project kind of came together. Were these just different scripts you decided to package as this? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Adam and I have a real cool process where we try to be super casual about things, and we just talk about stuff that's like, hey, you know, it'd be funny, and that's kind of, or we know it'd be cool, or something I really want to see, and that's kind of how we wind up developing a lot of stuff that we really go after then more seriously. But I think, you know, we were sort of working on the war story for a real long time prior to this, and I felt that I had, in some ways, maybe I could have done a little better towards what his idea was. So it was a lot of, you know, being honest and saying, wow, that was a great idea that he actually had for harrowing. And it was done as an Afghanistan, you know, modern, you know, story. And we decided to do it as a World War II. And that, again, that was his idea, and put a Nazi into it and everything else. So that sort of started to develop. But I think it was really, he came to the table with Blood Beach, really the concept for Blood Beach, and it was really fleshed out, and it was interesting, and I sort of understood it on like a John Carpenter Lovecraft level. I thought it was perfect. So it was like, okay, let's do that. So we sort of started banking these short films, and we had them, and it seemed like almost in like a four-month period, we started putting together all of them. Then Encounter Nightly was, I think, the beginning of when we started to say, hey, can we do this as an anthology?
Right.
And Encounter Nightly was, you know, watching a lot of Project Blue Book, and we both love Project Blue Book, and being like, you know, could we do something with this, but also, you know, and he directed it and did a great job with, you know, the found footage element, which was something that was interesting and different. And then we really arrived last at Nellie, which is an interesting
story. Which is the newest one.
Which is really the newest one. Yeah, you should tell that. I feel like you're...
Yeah, no, so Jamison was writing Nellie, and we pretty much had the other 3 locked down, you know, written, and it was all good. And he came to me, he's like, hey, I got this new script, or this new story. I want you to take a look at it and see, maybe do you think it has a place in the anthology? And I read it, and it was really cool, because back in the day, Jameson wasn't really into horror films. But when we sat down and watched a lot, he was really gravitating towards like Evil Dead, Psycho, Halloween, and a lot of Carpenter and Hellraiser, whatnot. And when he wrote Nellie, I could see all those influences coming out, the Evil Dead and the Psycho, obviously. And I was like, this is cool, because I was able to see him go from not really interested in horrors to really being a freak of horror. Like he loves horror. And so for him to write this, and then, you know, to have all his influence, it was really cool to see. And I like the script, because Nellie is very different from the other 3. As we were talking to other people the other night, there is a sense of relief with Nellie because of what you're seeing prior to that. And it still has a lot of those elements that are not used today in horror movies. Like you would see them a lot in like 60s, 70s, 80s horror movies, which I love. I just swim in them. And so it really came down to, okay, well, yeah, I like it. Let's put it in there. And when it came down to it, when everything was filmed and shot, we looked at it, we said, yeah, it works. Like it just works. And that was the newest addition we had to the movie. We didn't want to, I think we didn't really have a 4th one.
No,
planned.
Not really. And I honestly would never have put it in unless if he wasn't that excited about it. But he immediately took to it, and I was like, oh man, then I got to direct it now. So it was kind of like, you know, because it's so bizarre. And how do you approach it? it's like parts homage, but then also trying to figure out how to give it energy when you're still trying to pay homage. And it was crazy, weird, I guess, so to speak, to do that. But yeah, I mean, as soon as he was for it, that's really what then formed, How Dark They Pray. It was like, okay, we see what we're doing here. We're sort of doing a throwback. We're sort of doing a B horror. We're sort of doing something Twilight Zone, episodic, but at the same time, all the different things that we love that are modern still, that are the best, hopefully the best parts of the genre, we're trying to represent in some form.
Yeah.
Awesome. So it was always intended to be a anthology piece, but you didn't know it was going to have 4 films within it. It was kind of like 3, and then you got the sign off from your partner.
Yeah, well,
basically.
And we realized, we had to beef up the time a little bit. So we actually, at the very end, after we shot Nelly, we did the intro, which you see.
Yeah,
which was totally like created in like a couple of days.
Yeah,
thought and like.
Yeah, that was a great process actually, because it was so. Even that one was different because it was kind of like, how do we do something uniquely, weird with this that might catch people? And we love The Ninth Gate. And I was playing a lot of Bloodborne for those video game players out there. But so I was thinking about that. And then he really brought to the table, I mean, he like built, there's a little shrine, which is in the trailer. So we can spoil that. He built the shrine so well and everything else. We just did it the 2 of us. It was really just the 2 of us. There was no crew for that entire opening except Adam and I. So yeah, that was a little labor of love, but it was also something different to try to start it. That was cool. That kind of reminded us again of something else that the genre had to offer, which is movies like The Ninth Gate, which I feel like there's nothing like The Ninth Gate.
Yeah.
It seems like there's nothing like that. Isn't that true?
I've seen it too many times.
Yeah, so that's kind of what happened with that one too.
Awesome. All right. So as you said, you kind of like working with a smaller crew, right? And you kind of do a lot of tasks at hand. I know that well, again, as a guerrilla filmmaker in a lot of ways. So let's talk about this cast to portray and be these characters in the projects. Tell me how about that, and just, showing some love to them and the work they did in the 4 various tales in How Dark They Pray, again, arriving on September 15th on Amazon Prime Video.
Yeah.
So the cast was great because we were in the middle of the pandemic, and we found them all online.
Yeah.
It's a totally different way to cast. And we kind of, we really arrived very harmoniously at who we should choose. There was a couple people like Samuel Piggott that I didn't necessarily notice in the choices that Adam noticed. I think when we saw James Riley for Harrowing, we liked him immediately. We had a lot of troubles finding someone for Mark Lovers, who I'm sorry, I should say the characters. Leon in Blood Beach was a very difficult character because usually people that age are either SAG or they're hard to get to, whatever else. Yeah. And we found him, and he happened to be non-union, but also an extraordinary actor. And that fit the bill. So we, we just did a lot of, video type of submission things, that were really simple auditions, but then also callbacks, I guess, so to speak, too. Can you just read this one more time like this? And those guys all showed up to those sets with just an incredible passion to be there. Yeah. I mean, they were surprisingly rugged, I would say, in terms of what they could deal with. I mean, we don't like trying to, force people or put people in difficult positions or anything like that, but just naturally, this was not an easy movie to shoot in a lot of ways because we're in the woods, we're on a beach. That one was kind of nice. At least it was for Mark. Like Adam said in the other interview, he just got to smoke cigars all day. Mm-hmm. But really, I mean, the guys in the war movie, I mean, that was an uncomfortable, it was an uncomfortable environment. Yeah. We were like in the jungle, it felt like. But yeah, I mean, we could talk about, so many different things.
Yeah, no, they were, I mean, especially with the Encounter Nightly as well, me directing for the first time. It was the process of directing was surprisingly not as bad as I thought it would be. I'm naturally an introvert, and I like listening more than barking out orders or talking. So really, it was actually Encounter Nightly was a 2-day shoot compared to all the others that I think were 1
That's
day.
right. Yeah.
And so, the first day I was, sweating bullets, and I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna look stupid in front of, not a whole crew, but just a small group of people that have all eyes on me if something goes wrong, or if I say something that doesn't sound like it makes sense. But that did not happen. They were all very professional.
Yeah.
At the end of the shoot, I said, "Hey guys, thank you for being patient with me," and because they were all team players, and it was cool. Like they could see that I was a little uncomfortable with it, that I was new to it, but they took to it like a duck with water, and they just they gave me the space. Jameson gave me the space. They all helped me out when I needed it, and it was great. And
Yeah. I just want to add into there what Adam's well, he's actually really explaining it fully right now, but we talked quite extensively about how we're going to do each movie, and I felt that I should not do a found footage film because I just wasn't sure if I had the right spin on it, and I felt really strongly that Adam understood that he loves movies like Paranormal Activity, and that's really one of his favorites. So it kind of felt like I always am of the belief if you're not really passionate into something, just don't freaking do it. So I felt like, he had that passion for it and he had the right spin on it in a way that I could never really do it. So he did a great job directing Encounter Nightly, which is in a lot of ways, I think is probably what I would think is the audience, favorite, because it's very entertaining. It's funny. It has everything. It's scary. So he really did a great job, and it really was his first time directing, even though he's always produced these movies. So he was excellent, and the movie looks like it's a seasoned work. It really does. So I was very proud of him with that.
well, thank you.
Excellent. I love that. I feel like, again, you guys have been working for a while, and then through this project, you both individually took on new roles and learned a lot. So I would say, or actually, I'm curious, what do you both individually think is the biggest lesson you learned through this project and the making of How Dark They Pray?
It's a good question. Should quite a lot of things, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you going to take with you from this project to the next project?
Well, I think
I would say is that if you could do something yourself, do it.
yeah.
I feel like yeah, as we were talking about, it was tough because we're dealing with COVID and these actors and a small crew, and a lot of people would say, okay, that's a lot of weight on your back to start, to start a race or whatever. But we've always believed that if you have a challenge and you get something done, imagine how you're going to feel once it's done because you conquered it with that challenge. So imagine if you didn't have a challenge on your back, you could do it with ease. We try to be like a Swiss Army knife, learn different tricks and tools to keep ourselves going. I think one of our big mission statements is that if you could do it yourself, do it. Be an independent filmmaker, independent, and it's very easy to get lost in getting signed somewhere, getting all these deals where they lock you out of things or whatnot, and no filmmaker deserves that because it is a tough process. For anybody who doesn't know what a director, producer, writers go through in the pre-production, it's hell. When everybody's waiting to get to production, it's like an addict. You just want to get there. You want to do it. It's all this.
No, it's true. I'm trying to think of my greatest lesson or something that I would take from it, but I feel like there are so many things. It's hard to really drill down into them. But I think on this one, more than any of them, I think we really honed into the just do it yourself mentality. And I would agree with that. We were shopping for World War II outfits. There was no costume person. We built some props ourselves. I did the special effects on my computer. No sweat. It was actually easy in so many ways. Just doing it yourself. I actually shot the camera on this one, which was fine. There was really nothing crazy about it. It was like a little bit of a different process than directing, but it was actually pretty easy. And I think a lot of times you just get bogged down into, oh, we got to do this, this, and this, you know. But again, our mentality is just try to do it yourself. Find really the most efficient way, because that's what this movie was about. It was just about efficiency, you know. I mean, and also an interesting point, you know, that I think you would find interesting and crazy as a filmmakers. I mean, we shot all of them, like you said, in one day. The only reason why Encounter Nightly wasn't one day was because we needed day and night. Otherwise, it would have been. It would have been, because the budget that's what it allowed for, pretty much. So when we were shooting even something like Nelly, which is 22 minutes long, I mean, we shot that all in about 8 hours. You know, it's 22 pages of content, you know, with action and blood and everything else. So I think you would be surprised what you can actually pull off if you just try to go for it and maybe don't overthink it so much. Try to put the right elements in place. But then I think if you really work or rehearse your cast, they're ultimately the product on the screen, and more importantly, the soul that's on the screen. And you can kind of figure everything else out. Oh, the light doesn't look too good there, or maybe the color's not good. We can fix that later. The shot's a little off. And even audio, if you have an audio issue. But I think if your cast is there with you, you know.
And I think having that smaller crew kind of gave more intimacy, you know. There was more of a chance to have a conversation with someone, rather than, you know, having to like go to some corner of the room to talk to them or find a quiet spot. Any conversation was everybody's conversation. It pertained to everyone.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
it was like a small platoon. It was, you know, if you had to tell this guy that, you know, he's doing something right or wrong, or, you know, had to try to, you know, to make it more like this, it wasn't done in silence or, you know, in a corner. Everybody was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. Now I know what he's doing. Now let's get this done.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the good thing about it. It was just, you know, there's more intimacy, there's more conversation, there was more room for just getting to know people, and then realizing what their boundaries were, you know, and just and making them work for it almost.
Yeah, and also Adam had one of the greatest directing challenges, which we put everybody in this really freaking tiny cabin for Encounter Nightly,
Really tiny,
and had a fight sequence. So it was really a crazy thing. And I remember just saying to him, like, the only thing I could imagine doing right now is just getting everyone out of here for a minute so you can think, because it was just so crazy. When you put the camera in there, I mean, it was like smaller than this room, that entire thing, but it doesn't look that way on camera, which is great. But yeah, it was intimate. It was sometimes very intense, but everybody was there for it. And honestly, everybody was very calm.
Yeah.
And really respectful, relaxed, and you don't always have that on sets. And there really was no issue. And I think any questions that were asked were about logical things, you know.
I dig it. I dig it. I love dropping tips for the filmmakers that are watching my interviews a lot, because I think we all need inspiration to keep it moving and keep going for it, you know? So with that being said, you wrapped on the project, and now again, it's coming to everyone on Amazon Prime Video, and watch movies now on September 15th. What has the reception been like? What did you think of the final product and getting it up on Prime Video, getting that together? What is some of the word from like the cast, rest of the crew? What did y'all think of the final project and now it launching to the world?
Well, we distributed it ourselves.
Yeah.
Amazon.
It's different this time.
Watch movies now, so we kind of went, you know, like, all right, if we're gonna say, you know, we're gonna do it ourselves, let's do it ourselves. And right now, we like it because you know, there's a lot of control with, you know, what's going on, and we could, you know, it's very transparent of what's, you know, what platforms it's going to,
great, actually,
and what we could expect. We just told the cast actually that
we just told them. They haven't actually seen the film yet.
No.
We were gonna maybe send it, and that was what we normally would do. But there's so many of them, and we're sort of trying to feel that out. Maybe they can see it on the day of, but we're feeling that part out still. But yeah, I mean, like Adam said, we're self-distributed. So Film Valor is in direct, you know, working directly with Watch Movies Now and Prime. for those initial releases. And yeah, no, it's been great. I mean, we have because we do all the technical, it's not that hard for us to deliver a film, and it's actually a hell of a lot easier than going through a distributor because we can just make the content ourselves. We're also partnering with Film Hub, who's doing some of the extended platforms like an aggregator would need to, like to get to Tubi and those things that most independent filmmakers can't get directly to. But otherwise, it's all us, and we've done all the work delivering to them, and we're running our own marketing campaigns besides, you know, our PR company on videos, and we're really just following some of the things that we liked about distributors and losing all the other things that we didn't like, and it's been great.
Yeah, and people who have watched it, like friends and family, you know, they all have the ones that they like. You know, it's
true.
great.
Everybody always says the one that they like the most.
Yeah, and it's good
Yeah.
because it's always something different. There's, you know, and that's good. I mean, I don't expect everyone to like all of them.
Yeah.
You know, if you like one, great. If you dislike one, great. If you hate one, even better. Fine. You know, get something out of it. You know, because I think anthologies, they're, you know, now they're pretty tough to do. I think you see some of them that, you know, that really, you know, hit the mark, and then ones that just don't. And I mean, I like the older ones like Body Bags. We like a Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Twilight Zone, Tales of Halloween, we liked
Tales of Halloween.
recently. So yeah, I mean,
VHS and all.
it's true. I guess our anthology is a little different. It's definitely a throwback, but it's also something hopefully new, you know. And people don't make, I don't think at least people don't make anthologies that much, especially with such a small team of people. So that's, I think, what sort of sets ours apart. It's all kind of from the same two people,
Yeah.
you know, rather than, oh, here's 14 people who put it together, which I can't imagine is much easier, really. I think it's probably pretty complicated to put all of those things together. I mean, because I can imagine us times 14, how difficult and crazy that would be. Plus, you got to agree on everything. So some ways easier, you know, but different because you're doing the whole thing yourself. But it's like we've been telling a lot of the other people who have liked the film we've been speaking to, you know, we just really did one at a time. And that was really the way that we feel it was successful.
And they all, you know, it has the overlaying theme of, you know, how, you know, what people will do for their convictions, you know, and how, you know, dark down that tunnel they will go to get in, how, you know, how much they believe in it. And it's taken from different aspects of religion, the occult, science fiction. You know, it deals with belief, really. What do you believe in? How strong are your convictions to get what you want? And I think a lot of people could relate to it because it's not just one side of blood and guts, or you know, some sick, twisted guy, you know, doing something. It deals more with belief, and the undertones of it, you know, especially I think Harrowing has probably the biggest one because it deals more with religion, and I think most people could recognize that it's a dark story. It's very dark. It's not something that people would want to think of or have a conversation if it's right or wrong, but I think deep down inside it'll get to them. It'll find its way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, I love it, y'all. I just, as a older filmmaker, seeing young guys like you doing it and just tracking on every end of it all the way to distribution and just the love and the faith in the material and just going for it, man, I just think is admirable and is inspiring. So congrats to you guys. Again, How Dark They Pray is dropping on Prime Video and Watch Movies now on September 15th. I know y'all are in the midst of promoting. That's why you're here with me and getting the word out there about the film. But I have to ask you, as a creative, we keep creating. We never stop. So I'm sure you're in the midst of pre-pro on other stuff. What's some love and light I can throw on that as well? What can we talk on to also let people know what they can expect post How Dark They Pray that you can talk about without spoiling? Because I know we don't want to give anything away. But also maybe just also throw out some socials so they can track you there. So my people can be your fans as well. Tell me what you got coming up if you can, and how they can reach out to you.
Great. So yeah, we're really active mostly on Film Valor on YouTube, and that's really where everybody watches our stuff. It's where we promote out of. It's where we have a new movie come out every once in a while, or a new trailer, a new piece. If we were going to be releasing How Dark They Prey on DVD, which is more than likely, we'll do a trailer for it there. But the thing we're working on right now is we have a series of, it's becoming now a series of videos that are called Star Wars Battle Royale, and it's about sort of like PUBG and Battle Royale video games. They have a bunch of, just guys playing it or on the battlefield, playing it as Star Wars, characters in the world of Star Wars with, TIE fighters dropping care packages and things like that. So we're doing the second part to that, which is also sort of weirdly enough a reference to Leone Western films, and so it's becoming, part one, part two, and part three, I guess, just somewhere's on the horizon. So that's one thing. We're definitely working on putting together a collection of our short films, because we sort of want to, get those out there and distribute them, especially as we have the means to now. And we're developing a number of other feature-length projects that, are in the early stages but have treatments, and probably staying with the horror, genre, realm, and yeah, Film Valor on YouTube. Film Valor on Instagram is the best place to see everything we're doing up to the minute.
I love it. I love it. Well, everybody, make sure you go do that. Check out Film Valor, subscribe, like, share. I know they'll appreciate it. That's how we exist as filmmakers, and especially indie guys. We need that love and support. Adam Ambrosio, Jamison LoCascio, congrats again. How Dark They Prey, dropping on September 15th on Amazon Prime Video, as well as Watch Movies Now. This was a lot of fun, man. And when those other projects come, please come back. Let's talk all about Film Valor on Nerds Rule the World.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're
Sounds
here
good.
for it. You got it.
I love it. All right, y'all. There you go. Jamison LoCascio, Adam Ambrosio. I am Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. And make sure you check out How Dark They Prey when it drops on Prime Video on September 15th. We're out of here, y'all.